team concluded that everything continues to look good, and there are no issues preventing us from pressing ahead at this point. As we enter the pre-launch phase, the teams are in a strong posture and the mission remains on track. 53 years ago, humanity left the moon and did not return. Now we go back.
It's a new era of pioneers, star sailors, thinkers, and adventurers.
Go, drop, go, PDA, go, FIDO, go. All right, go for launch.
Our destiny is always to go and see what's further and what's next.
Reminder on the flyby day, just to get us all right back in that mindset. The two of you are probably more in that mindset, just having done it a couple days ago. You'll have 30 minutes, all four of you at the same time before this.
Aware that you go into that area, you need the hard hat and safety goggles. General reminders for the mock-up itself.
So I find a lot of interest looking back, 50 years ago to Apollo, and so I try to get people motivated with Artemis because I said it's going to be the same, and it's half the world's population weren't even born when we were Apollo, and to refresh them and to show them the excitement of deep space exploration and moon landings and stuff is going to be, I think, a very outstanding motivational tool for the young people to challenge them and say, well, let's go do that. That's what I want to do. I'm all for it, and I'm all behind them and cheering them on. So it's going to be an exciting flight, and going out 6,000 miles beyond the moon and looking back, and they'll be able to see the whole backside of the moon. I'm excited about that. Finally getting going on Artemis. I think it's going to be a great program. The first missions circling the moon and around the equator, and then transferring to a polar orbit is going to be very exciting to me.
You do not need to run that procedure.
Okay, then help me out. We were handed these packets of paper in the briefing.
My SD card is assigned per individual entity knows which cruise which you use each SD card. So presumably I would be like, cool, I'm 1027.
Artemis is hugely exciting, really, because it is, as I said, our return to the moon from, all those years ago when the Apollo missions were going on. And Artemis is a program, so it's a series of missions that will run, and it represents a sustained presence on the surface of the moon, which is where we're essentially going to. But we barely scratched the surface of the moon during those 6 landings that we had in the Apollo era. And the moon is fascinating for many reasons. It's like a repository of 4 billion years worth of solar system history. So it can tell us a lot about the Earth itself. It was once, we think, part of the Earth following a major collision in the early solar system. That's how our moon formed. There could be precious metals, minerals, resources on the surface of the moon that could be incredibly valuable to us, in addition to being a stepping stone to further exploration of the solar system. So I always think that we explore space for 3 reasons. We go there for science, for inspiration, and for exploration. So there's a huge amount to be learned in terms of scientific knowledge. There's our desire to explore, that kind of innate human desires, what's beyond the next boundary. So this is us breaking out of Earth's orbit once again, going to Moon, Mars, and in the future beyond, which in itself is inspiring. It's that inspiration factor. That's what the Apollo effect gave the United States of America. And, this has the potential to do the same for the rest of the world. Well, the UK and Europe are right there on Artemis 2. We were there on Artemis 1. In fact, in terms of we built the European service module, which powers the Orion spacecraft. That provides all the electrical power, the life support systems, the propellant. And so Europe is heavily involved in the Artemis program. And in return for our involvement, at some point, yes, we will get a European astronaut as part of that mission, just like the Canadians right now have an astronaut, and I'm sure the Japanese will get an astronaut on the Artemis program as well. So it really is that same sort of partnership, that bartering arrangement that we've had for so many years on the International Space Station. But no, we can be very proud in the UK that we are part of this Artemis mission. I'm quite optimistic that within our lifetimes we will see boots on Mars. Yes. I think for a number of factors. I think the Artemis program is going to de-risk that mission. We're going to learn an awful lot about how to do the Mars missions more safely, more effectively, more efficiently. And I also think that the commercial space is going to help drive that forward as well. We've heard people like Elon Musk, who's and Jeff Bezos, who are very active in the space industry with ambitions to get to Mars. And I think that will be a public-private partnership with the major space agencies around the world. And so I do think with those kind of 2 organizations working together, that we will see boots on Mars probably within the early 2040s. But when they actually transit to the moon, they're going to have 3 to 4 days. And I think at that point, they'll be able to the pace will ease off a bit. They'll be able to reflect. They'll be doing some more science experiments. And then the moon will just be getting bigger and bigger in the window. So I think there's several moments during the mission which are going to be quite profound for them as a crew. It's one thing to go to space and look back on your home planet. It's another thing to see your home planet so far away that your thumb can cover it, and the moon is actually so big in your window. So it's going to be an incredible moment, and the kind of images that they're going to send back as well, for us, they won't be like the Apollo images. This is going to be full 4K high definition. We're going to get some amazing sights of the moon like we've never seen before. Yes, I'm going to be, hugely excited. It'd be quite an emotional moment. I think I know all 4 crew members very well. Reed Wiseman, the commander, he was the person I was speaking to out on my spacewalk. He was back in mission control, controlling my spacewalk from Houston. I mentioned, Jeremy, I was speaking to just on Tuesday. So having that emotional attachment to friends who are sat on top of that rocket will be incredible. But there's not an astronaut on the planet who wouldn't want to be in one of those 4 seats. So it's going to also be incredibly exciting, be a very proud moment. And we'll all be wishing them, well on their journey and for a safe and successful mission.